Hey everyone, welcome back to another 7-minute math video. Today we're going to talk about simplifying complex fractions. And I suppose if we're going to talk about that, we should understand what a complex fraction is. So here are 3 examples. A complex fraction is simply a fraction that has a fraction inside of another fraction, either on the numerator, on the denominator, or both. Here you have a fraction inside of a whole fraction, and another example, and holy cow, a very difficult one down here, but all of them have fractions inside of fractions. And anytime you're dealing with fractions, you might have to be aware of restrictions on your denominator. We can't leave those denominators be equal to 0. At this point, the only thing we're going to do with these complex fractions are simplify them. In the next section, we're going to work on solving them, and you'll find a video for that inside of Schoology. But for right now, let's go ahead and work on simplifying only. And while there's 2 different techniques, I'm going to show you the one that I prefer, and that one is to multiply the entire fraction by what is a least common multiple. And I'll show that off here in just a moment. What I'm going to observe is that there's a fraction on the top. In fact, there's 2 fractions on the top. One has a denominator of x and the other a y. So the common denominator would be x times y, or xy. On the bottom, nothing gets in the way of that. I have one fraction only. The denominator is y, so that kind of fits in with our xy theme because y is represented there. The fact that x is kind of an extra down here isn't going to bother me at all. So what I'm going to do, I'll switch colors. What I'm going to do is multiply the entire item by 1, but 1 isn't going to help me. I need a 1 to look like something different. So I'm going to make 1 into xy divided by xy. So that allows me to multiply this fraction and simplify it. And then here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of point with my fingers if I can. When I see the x on the denominator times the xy, this x and this x are going to cancel out because one will be in the bottom and one will be in the top. So they're going to cancel each other out, and x canceled leaves y times 1. Well, y times 1 is just y. All right, let's do the same thing again. The y here and the y here are going to cancel out, which leaves x times x, which is x squared. All right, let's look at the bottom. Same technique. Y in the bottom and this y over here are going to cancel out, which leaves x times 1. And over here, there's no denominator to cancel anything, so it's just xy times 1. And that's it. That's all we need to worry about. We should consider restrictions. And the restrictions that I have look like this. I've got 3 original fractions inside of the original, so each of the denominators can't be 0. So x can't be 0, y can't be 0, and, well, I guess I wrote it twice, y can't be 0 again. Xy multiplied together, that's just part of the solution process, although I would agree that x times y can't be 0. However, we kind of already have that represented here, because the only way to get x times y would get one of them has to be 0, and we've already prevented that here. The last piece I had was a little funky. I had this solution piece, x plus xy, and it can't be 0 either. So I wrote x plus xy can't be 0. I decided to split these, one on the left and one on the right, and when I did that, I got x is negative xy. I wasn't really sure what to do here, so I decided let's divide by x. We already know that x can't be 0, so we're dividing by x. And when I did that, I got x divided by negative x, which gave me negative 1 is y. And I thought, well, that's a strange restriction, but I thought about it. And if y is negative 1, that would make this thing equal to negative x. And x and negative x would equal 0. So I think I have 3 restrictions. I have 1 of them, 2 of them, and 3 of them. So I'm going to put a semicolon. I'm going to put x cannot be 0, and y cannot equal 0 or negative 1. And that would be my whole answer. Let's go ahead and look at one of yours. You can find this one in the document you should have open in front of you. And this would be a good time for you to go ahead and pause and try this on your own. So pause your iPads, try it, and then come back. All right, you're going to watch me do this in fast forward. Let's see how quickly I can do it and if it matches up with yours. And done. Can't forget my restrictions, so. And here are my restrictions. Again, x can't be 0, y can't be 0. The xy is kind of already taken care of, and 2x can't be 0 either, but that just ends up being x can't be 0, so I'm going to have two restrictions. X cannot be 0, and y cannot be 0. And that would be my simplified version of my answer. So that should be enough to get you going. So good luck.